Growing up, I've never really experienced any like significant pain or trauma. I had a pretty decent life. If I'm being completely honest, I never really needed for anything. Not saying we had the most, but we didn't have the least either. We were kind of like always right in the middle. So my trauma, I guess, didn't start until I started experimenting with like hard drugs, and then that kind of led to drug-induced depression, and that kind of snowballed into just not being able to get out of that I guess up and down roller coaster. So that was kind of the way that I at least dealt with it. But up until that point, the way that I dealt with anything I was going through was just to funnel everything and keep it internalized and not tell anyone, because I didn't want to put my, I guess, pain or my suffering or my complaints, I guess, on another person. So it's not a healthy way to go about that, and I wish that I chose a more healthy form of coping with those type of things, but I tend to internalize them instead of reaching out to someone and letting someone know how I feel.
What would you say your healing process is? Like, how is it that you've gotten from this point where you were kind of dealing with your problems through internalizing them and hard drugs and such? How is it that you've gotten from that to the point where you are now? Like, what's been your healing process?
So I'd say mostly my healing process involves me just humbling myself and not ever forgetting where I come from. I like to stay grounded and just remind myself, like I mentioned before, where one bad decision in a matter of 8 seconds, and reminding myself and not letting 8 seconds ruin a year and a half or 2 years of hard work. So I have to stay humble, and I don't mean that just saying it. Like, I actually mean like staying humble and praying and thanking the people that have helped me along this journey and along this process, and genuinely meaning it, and letting them know that I'm gonna keep going. And yeah, like thanking everyone and praying and staying humble as humble as possible, and communicating to people when I feel a certain way, and doing my best, because I fall short every day. So just trying to, when I notice myself starting to internalize things or keeping things in, recognizing that, owning it, and then doing my best to make an uncomfortable decision and try and vent and speak on it as much as I possibly can.
So you have your own nonprofit that's called Teach One Feed One.
Mm-hmm.
And could you talk a little bit about how that has contributed to your journey, and like the role that other people has played in your healing process?
So that's been monumental in my journey and my healing process, because now what I'm doing and my journey, it's no longer, not that it ever was, but it's no longer about me or just about me. Like, my journey and everything that we're trying to accomplish and everything that we're trying to do is way bigger than me or anything that I could ever accomplish in my own life. So of course I want to stay clean and stay sober and be as successful as possible for my own well-being, and I want to stay clean for myself first. But now I understand that there's people depending on me, and there's people depending on us in this world, and there's people who look for us and look to us for inspiration and for motivation to keep going, and that are really inspired by some of the things that we're doing. So if I was to revert back, or if I was to make a mistake, I understand that not only would I be letting me down, but I'd be letting down so many other people who look for us for inspiration. So the vision and the journey is way bigger than me. It's way more of a purpose at this point.